What's going on, y'all? It's your boy 3 Stacks in this thing, and I'm showcasing an updated variant on my Prediction Princess Shaddols. I really do love the deck. It's so awesome. It's just so freaking awesome. It's just such a fun deck. It does a lot. Like, it has a lot of options. The playstyle is just so far from linear. You can't really shut it down. You just really have to outmaneuver it, and you have to out-resource the deck. It's so powerful. And moving forward, to where Firewall Dragon Turbo is going to be a thing, Shaddoll Winda is going to be a freaking beast because she locks those decks out completely from ever thinking that they can link summon. If you special summon Gofu, that's it. You're done. You're done for the turn. So I just really love what this deck offers and the synergy that it has. With the princesses and the Shaddolls, they just work so well, perfectly in cohesion with each other. It's just such a beautifully well put together deck. And we have some spice added to this one to increase the ceiling and make the deck a lot more consistent so it can get to the combo pieces. So without further ado, we're just gonna hop right into this. First and foremost, obviously, I'm playing 3 copies of Terra Tray. She's one of my favorite rituals, and she happens to be a light fairy, which is just a plus because y'all know how I love light fairies. She's really broken. What she offers to the deck is just steroids for every single effect, and she allows you to break the mechanic of flip summons where you can actually, use it more than once. Naturally in Shaddolls, it's like once you flip that Shaddoll Falco, that's it. That's pretty much it. You're not going to use that Falco again. But with Terra Tray, you can flip Falco, special summon, then use Terra Tray, put Falco back face down, and use them again, which is just really broken. What she does for the deck is just boost the ceiling, of course, and she also enables you to just do stuff that you weren't supposed to do to begin with. So I think that she really did break the mechanic of flip summoning, and the interactions you have on your opponent's turn with this card are crazy. For example, flip summoning, the best card in the deck, part of the Forbidden. This guy is just so freaking clutch. He is every single ban list effect in one monster. All of the best ones, in my opinion. He's got Giant Trunade to bounce all spells and traps back to the hand. I really wish it destroyed all of them, but it's still good. He's got Raigeki, destroy your opponent's monsters. He's also got Pot of Greed, draw 2. And he has another card that I can't really explain it right now, but he basically looks at your opponent's entire hand, every single card in it, and he'll shuffle one. Now, this is really great when you're playing against Trickstars, because Trickstars naturally need to open up with either that Sanctuary or the Searcher, the Canadia chick, so they can get to Trickstar Reincarnation. Or if they have Reincarnation, you're just going to shuffle that into the deck, so you don't ever have to worry about it. So I really do love what Part of the Forbidden does. He's just every ban list effect that I really want. And playing him just gives you the chance to actually use those. And if you don't have Pot of Forbidden, you just can't use those banned effects because, they're banned. And Terra Tray and Pot of Forbidding actually go hand in hand with each other because they just protect each other. Like Terra Tray's, basically the attacker, and Forbidden's the defender. And sometimes he can be very aggressive in your game state. Most of the time I'm going to use him to draw 2 cards, but if the situation calls for it, I will use his other 3 effects, whatever I want. And throughout your duels, you're going to realize that you utilize this card more than once. You're going to use him so many times. Just special summoning him from the grave face down, use Terra Tray, flip him right back face up, use his effect. For example, when you ritual summon for Terra Tray and tribute this guy, during your end phase, she's going to bring him out. And then you can use her effect, flip him, draw 2 cards, or look at your opponent's hand, shuffle it, then during your opponent's turn, flip him back face down. That way, if they run into him, they hit the 3000 wall, and you get his effect off again. So I just love Pot of Forbidden, and they also allow you to make True King of all Calamities, which is a really busted rank 9, and I love that my deck has access to that card, which is just another plus. So those are the boss monsters, and a lot of times it's going to be main deck. You really don't go into the extra deck unless the need be, basically if need be so, if you actually have no choice. Even playing the Shaddolls, like sometimes you don't even fuse. You just use Prediction Princess Terra Tray to like flip Dragon, keep bouncing, or flip Squamata, keep popping, or just keep drawing off of Beast, which is really clutch. So I love the way the deck works. And the new engine that we've incorporated is actually the Spellbook engine. Now that I have access to Spellbook of Knowledge, I wanted to incorporate this into the deck because all Shaddolls are spellcasters, which give you a lot of targets for your Spellbook of Knowledge, and you also can search your targets for knowledge. And obviously, you can search your knowledge, so you can search the 2 cards, which is really cool to allow you to just open up, digging more into your deck because you already draw 2 off of Pot of the Forbidden. You already draw cards off of Beast. And then, of course, now you're drawing more off of Spellbook of Knowledge, and you already searched so much off of Prediction, off of the Prediction Ritual, off of Pre-Preps, off of Hedgehog, It's just really, really clutch, the grind game synergy, and every time a Shaddoll fusion hits the grave, you add to your hand. And of course, you have draw power in the form of 3 Allure of Darkness. So the deck just has so many ways to get to its plays. But we're running 3 copies of Blue Boy. This guy's a 1-card combo. If you open with him, you literally have a +1 right there. Just really, really clutch. And you still can Ritual Summon or Fusion after that. Just really nice. So I just love playing Blue Boy in the deck. He's just such a great card. Just having access to knowledge. I feel like any deck that can abuse knowledge should definitely play it. 3 copies of Spirit of the Fall Wind. She is the searcher for any flip effect monster. So another cool thing, that the interaction that I think is really, really awesome with Blue Boy is when he's flip face up, you can use his effect. So you can actually abuse his effect more than once with Prediction Princess Territory, because you can normal him, use his effect to search knowledge or secrets, then flip him face down with Territory, and then next turn flip him, search another secret, which will then search knowledge, and knowledge will ditch him to draw 2. So you actually maximize on your value off of the 1 Blue Boy having Territory, because she can put any monster face up or face down, and his effect triggers when he normal summon or flip face up, which is pretty broken. So Blue Boy is actually a lot more broken, you know, in this deck than most people would think, just for that reason, you know, for that interaction where you can actually double up on his effect and get your maximum value out of that 1 card. So you get to plus really heavy off of 1 Blue Boy, which is so clutch. I just like it. And a funny thing, Blue Boy is actually searchable off of secrets, which is pretty broken. So if you open with secrets or Blue Boy, you have the combo. Again, 3 Spirit of Fall Wind searches anything in your deck, basically. 3 copies of Prediction Princess Core Norma. She's so broken. She just literally special summons anything in your deck that's not Blue Boy or Falco, because it has to be level 3 or higher. But most of the time I use her to get straight into Pot of the Forbidden. So she's your alternative way to get him on the field, because my playstyle with this deck, if I don't have Territory, I'm trying to get straight to this card. And if not, then I'm just playing Shaddolls for the time being. The Shaddolls really just help to increase your ceiling. And the main reason why the Shaddolls are so good in this deck is because of Winda. When you have Territory and Winda, it's just like really, really powerful. Such a powerful lockdown. Another great lockdown is having Territory and Calamities, which just is like, what the heck are you going to do? You know, you just basically can't stop my monsters with your monsters now. And I can just keep going off of my combos, which is really, really clutch. But I definitely would say the ultimate lockdown is Winda Territory, because the 1 monster you special summon, it gets Book of Moons right away. Just really, really clutch. But anyways, 3 Core Norma, such a powerful card. So underrated in this archetype. For the Shaddolls, I had to cut Shaddoll Beast to 2 instead of playing 3. So we're playing 2 copies of Shaddoll Beast. He still works out extremely well, especially because Territory special summons any flip effect monster from your hand or your graveyard, which actually helps out a lot, you know, just to recycle your stuff. And 2 copies of Shaddoll Hedgehog, the searcher of the deck. I just did not have room to play any Shaddoll at 3. And considering the fact that you can access your Shaddolls through Spirit of the Fall Wind and also Prediction Princess Core Norma, you actually have 6 extra ways, you know, to get into Shaddoll. So you don't actually, you know, miss out too much on the 1 missing Beast and the 1 missing Hedgehog. It's just 2 less, basically. But anyways, 2 copies of Shaddoll Squamata, which is really, really broken. He's any Shaddoll effect, which I like a lot. He's just such a versatile card. And sending him off of Shadow Games is one of the best things to do, because you decked in. And you'll immediately get Shaddoll Falco and a target for Falco. But you don't want to flip Falco face up, obviously, after your Shadow Games resolves. Because it says you can change any number of Shaddoll monsters face down and face up. So you basically can choose, you know, whatever you want. It doesn't mean change all. So for example, if you had a face down Hedgehog, you don't have to change, you know, Falco face up. You can flip your Hedgehog, get the search off of that, and keep the Falco that you got off of the Shadow Games, which is really clutch. So Squamata has great synergy for that, and it also recycles my Shaddoll Core, which Core is a huge, you know, huge important card for this deck, because it's one of the ways I make Calamities, and it's also how I get into my other fusions. We're also playing 2 copies of Shaddoll Falco, which is really clutch. He's the tuner of the deck. He's how I make all my synchros. And I use Territory to just revive him and use him to revive other cards. So you just have a never-ending snowball effect, looping your resources and not burning out. Just really clutch. Double Falcos perfectly. It works out perfectly. And then 1 Shaddoll Dragon to sum up the monsters. Dragon is just one of those cards where you just have to play it if you're playing Shaddolls. Blue Boy is definitely such a great card in this deck. Again, like I said, his effect is just so abusive. And he does a lot for the deck as well, because he's also a water for your water fusion. And my water fusion, the Anoetilis, is very important where she's at, because she's a level 9, and she's how I go into my True King of all Calamities. You know, I like to have multiple ways to get into Calamities, because he's just such a broken card. In this variant, I'm not playing 2 Calamities, but in my previous build, I was actually running 2 Calamities in my extra deck, just so I can make them twice, because I actually can. But I decided to cut 1 Calamities for other cards. Moving forward with the spells, we're playing 3 copies of Pre-Preparation of Rites. This spell is really powerful for what it does for the deck, and also just being a generic +1, which is amazing. Not generic, actually. It's only for ritual decks, but it's generic to me because, you know, I just play mostly rituals. But you have pre-prep, and of course, you also have secrets, which is the new +1 of the format. Secrets was never a +1 until Spellbook of Knowledge came out. You literally just secrets for blue boy for knowledge, and then knowledge into, you know, draw 2 more cards by ditching your blue boy. Or if you happen to draw into an additional outlet, for example, if you top deck a knowledge and a secrets, you can then utilize the knowledge. If you want to keep the blue boy and use the territory combo, utilize the knowledge and ditch the extra secrets that you didn't need, because it can actually send a spellbook or, you know, the spellcaster monster that you control, which is really clutch. But 3 copies of secret nonetheless. It's just such a powerful card. If you open up with pre-prep and secrets, you know, you have instant +1s right there, which allows you to end with 7 cards, you know, versus the 5 you started with. And also, we're playing 3 copies of Spellbook of Knowledge. Obviously, this is the new steroids for all spellcaster monsters, and decks that run spellcasters can abuse this card the most, obviously, because you have live targets all the time, versus, you know, having just the 3 blue boys as your target. Some decks might brick with this. But 3 knowledge for more draw power, in addition to, you know, searching off of pre-prep and secrets. Moving forward with the draw power, we're also playing 3 copies of Allure Darkness. You run a lot of darks in this deck, and your targets are actually searchable via, you know, Spirit of the Fallwind, and also your Sinister Shadow games can actually trigger, you know, your Hedgehog, which will get you a search. So Allure Darkness is just always live in this deck. It's really powerful. I love what it does. You need to draw in this deck a lot, because it's a ritual deck, so rituals do utilize quite a bit of your resources, so you just want to recover and basically replenish everything that you've utilized that turn, so you're set, you know, good to go next turn, because you always want to make sure that you can keep going and don't just go all in, you know, one turn and be like, this is my you know, this is my all, and if I lose, I lose. You just want to be conservative, and whatever you commit to your board, make sure you have a backup play in your hand, and that's how I like to play. 3 prediction ritual. It's a great ritual spell because it also allows you to banish itself the next turn, not the same turn it's sent, from the grave, to add any prediction ritual monster. Prediction princess monster, meaning Koi Norma or Territory. And I had to cut Shaddoll Fusion from 2 to 3 just for this current build. So we're playing 2 Shaddoll Fusion and 1 L Shaddoll Fusion. Of course, Philip Martinez actually helped me to get the 3rd Shaddoll Fusion, so shout outs to him once again. But we had to cut the fusions down to 3 just for this build, so just 3 fusions, period. And Shaddoll Fusion is a great card. It may go back up to 3 once I start seeing a bit more Firewall Dragon Turbo decks. You know, Firewall Dragon just came out and it's a bit expensive, so not everybody has access to the card, so I haven't really seen too much of it being played. And to sum up the main deck, we are also playing 3 copies of Sinister Shadow games, which is by far the best freaking trap like that you can run in this deck. It's better than D-Barrier or Strike or even Warning because it's just so generic. Generic meaning that it does more than one thing and it's so versatile in the deck. I don't mean generic meaning it can be ran in any deck. Obviously, it's only for Shaddolls, but if you get what I'm saying, it's so versatile. It gets you pretty much anything that you need. So this trap can actually win you games, and it can keep you in the game if you're gonna die. And 1 Shaddoll core. Sometimes this is in the grave, and if I don't have, you know, a window to send to the grave to get it, fetch it back from grave to hand, I'll activate Shadow Games and send Squamata and activate Squamata's effect to add any Shaddoll card, you know, from your I'm sorry. Other way around. What I'm trying to say is you want to use this effect. So when you have a Shaddoll Fusion, you know, in your graveyard, and for example, like a Shaddoll Fusion in your graveyard, and you can't really like ditch a window, or window got banished, so you can't get Fusion back. Like, and you're like, dude, I need a fuse. You know, I have fusion outlets. Like I have Hedgehog and I have Beast. I want to draw and search. You can activate Shadow Gain, send Squamata, Squamata's effect, send Core, and then Core's effect to add fusion from graveyard to hand. That's originally what I meant to say. I just mixed up my words. I apologize for that. So that will definitely sum up the main deck. And now we're going to move forward to the extra deck, which is pretty much where the sauce is. You know, you play main deck for the most part, but when you go into the extra deck, it really is live because it just has to be worth it, especially because, you know, I'm not trying to do link monsters in this deck. I just want to keep it as pure as possible. So I just really wanted to see how potent and, you know, long lasting this deck is without links. So, you know, without spamming from the extra deck, I wanted to see what this deck has to offer, and it's actually very perfect. Because for the most part, you're just turboing out, you know, the windows. I played 3 of her, and since you're always sitting on window, it's just really hard to spam from the extra deck, obviously, because most of the time the one special summon that I get off of her for my turn is my in-phase territory. You know, every single in-phase you generate advantage off of her, special summoning a flip effect from your hand or grave. And most of the time I just always go for grave, and it goes right face down. So that is your one special summon. So a lot of times I don't even go heavily into my extra deck unless it's to go into her Or, you know, if the matchup need be so, then I'll go into Shikinaga because you do have targets for her. And Onoitilis actually has targets now. I used to use Shaddoll Core to get her, but it's really cool because we're playing the 3 copies of Blue Boy, you know, Spellbook Magician. He's a water, so you can actually fuse with him and another Shaddoll, make your Onoitilis, and then, you know, flip Pot of the Forbidden, blow up all your opponent's monsters, or draw 2, or whichever effect, overlay Pot of the Forbidden and Onoitilis, go right into True King of All Calamities. And Shaddoll fusions say when they're sent to the graveyard, so when you detach her, she will get sent to the graveyard, and then you'll get to plus off of the calamities just by detaching her. Detach her at Shaddoll fusion. And it does work because it literally says, if you read in the card text, it says, if this card is sent to the graveyard, it doesn't matter how it gets sent, if it's sent. And it totally works. It's not an illegal play. In 1L Shaddoll Wendigo, which is very, very broken. I just love what this card does. And it's a lot better than the Fire Fusion, since a lot of times we're sitting on Winda. You don't want to negate that special summon because then they can special summon again. So I prefer, instead of going Winda, you know, sometimes I'll go into Wendigo. And again, like Grista is just not that great because Winda's a lot better. You know, you negate the one special summon, they're going to keep special summoning anyway. So sometimes Grista is just not all that. And it's a once per turn, whereas Winda's kind of like a continuous, everlasting thing. And sometimes, you know, you have to go into Wendigo because there's huge beaters out there. Like, for example, if you know your opponent's playing Lightning, for example, if they summon Utopia, you can chain El Shaddoll, fuse right into Wendigo, and then they go into Lightning. Lightning can't beat over anything now because it's a special summon monster. And she can actually activate her effect before your opponent. Before, keyword, remember what I'm saying. Before your opponent enters the battle phase, activate her effect, target. That monster can be destroyed by battle now. And then Lightning is just useless. So yeah, it's just really clutch. And that's how I played around Utopia the Lightning. Obviously, you know, you can't activate it in battle phase if Utopia the Lightning is battling. But she's a quick effect, which is really, really cool. So I just like having, you know, versatility in my fusions. And I'm having these effects is just really, really nice. Protection from battle, you know, locking your opponent from special summoning. This can actually lock your opponent from special summoning, you know, no True King's Return, and the Goki rematch, the Goku or whatever archetype. There's just, it's going to get a lot better because there may be more spells and traps in the future that utilize, you know, special summoning from the grave, which Onoitilis will lock them out. But for the most part, she's here to make calamities, and Shikinaga's just a beast. So that sums up the fusions, which I run 6 of. Then we're playing Triphala. It's very easy to make in this deck because you have so many different levels. You have 3s, you have 4s, you have 5s, and it's just really, really easy to make Triphala. Like it's just such a great generic synchro. And you can use like Falco and a Hedgehog or a Core Normal and any other level 4, and you've got your Triphala right there. Like one game I actually trished and then flipped, you know, after I trished, flipped my Pot of Forbidden using Terratrace effect, and then destroyed all their monsters. I trished for the back row in the hand and the grave, and then destroyed all the monsters. And then, you know, after I attacked with both of those, I overlaid into True King of All Calamities, which was really, really clutch. And I did not leave Terratray in attack position because I was scared of Mirror Force, so I left her in defense, which is why, you know, it was just so perfect. And then next turn, you know, main phase 2, I overlaid into Calamities. So that was just something cool. I was like, dude, I just never realized, you know, that you can actually trish and then go into Calamities. Like the deck, I was never able to do that before, but I just had the resources to do it. So that's just something that may come up in your duels. You know, if you're playing this deck, you'll be able to trish your opponent and still go into Calamities after that. It's just really, really cool. So I like the trish in this deck because it's really easy to make. It's easy to make, and it's a level 9 again. I wanted to have a decent amount of level 9s because I just feel like making this card in this deck just wins you games. And also Siphon Lord Omega. Just such a broken generic synchro. I just like what he does. And I do banish off of my Allure of Darkness. And I also banish my Prediction Ritual, which is cool interactions that you have. When you banish off of Allure, you can use Omega to, you know, put your Shaddoll back into your grave. For example, if you banish like that one of that you really need, you could put it back and then special summon it from your grave off of Terratray. Because I believe he actually returns. Yeah, he'll return it. Yeah, target one and return to the graveyard. So it won't trigger Shaddoll effects. So don't get it twisted and say that I said something that I didn't. Because I'm telling you right now that Shaddoll effects will not activate if you banish them off of Allure Darkness, then use Omega to put it back. Because it's not being sent to the graveyard. It's being returned. So please do not misinterpret or twist my words and say that I said something that I never said. But you can use Omega to put your Shaddoll, for example, Falco, back into the graveyard and then Terratray that back. Or you can even use Siphon Lord Omega when you've banished your Prediction Ritual. Using its effect, you can use his effect, put it back to the grave, and then next turn banish it and search again. So you just get a lot more, you know, value out of that. So Omega has just really cool interactions in this deck. in addition to what he already does, which is trolling your opponent. You can Omega away one card from your opponent's hand and then Pot of the Forbidden, you know, shuffle another one, which is really, really nasty. Clearwing, I just like him. He could have been Black Rose, but a lot of the times I control too many monsters to give it up for Black Rose. Coral Dragon, Monster Reborn, basically. I love this card. And that sums up for the Synchros. This deck is actually really cool because it can fusion, Synchro, XYZ, and Ritual. And if I wanted to run a Link monster, you guys know I have Link monsters. It can Link Summon then, which basically means it can do everything except Pendulum Summon, which who cares? True King of All Calamities, such a broken rank 9. And instead of running 2 of him, I may incorporate a Daigusto Emerald in my extra deck. So, you know, when those situations call for it, I can just recycle him back in other stuff. Because I have found myself running low on resources at times where I'm like, you know what, Terra Trade is only bringing back 1 and I need more than 1. And then Artifact Durandal, because sometimes I need to turn off my own Shaddoll window to, you know, keep myself from, because it keeps myself from special summoning a lot. So I'll overlay Shaddoll Beast and Shaddoll Window into this, and that would be the one special summon. But now that Window's off the field, you can special all you want. And Durandal does offer great negation and protection for your plays. One Minerva, this may come out for the Daigusto Emerald, but Minerva's been so clutch in this deck. Just because when she mills, it's her actual effect, so it's different from Dante. It's not a cost. Detaching to mill 3 cards from your grave from your deck to the grave is the actual monster effect. Don't get it twisted. So you can actually use the Shaddoll effects if she sends them. And you can also send cards like Prediction Ritual and get their effects off engrave. So she's pretty cool in this deck. It's just a spicy tech. You don't have to play it. And then one Abyss Dweller to sum up the extra deck because he is a staple in this format. So yeah, you guys tell me what you think. Give your honest opinion and feedback on the deck and its functionality. I honestly love this deck, and I'm always doing updated variants of it. It's just kind of one of those decks that go underappreciated. Prediction Princesses and Shadolls, 2 separately. Both those archetypes are kind of like, you can call them rogue decks now, and a lot of people just don't care for them. But you know how I am. I love to just revamp decks that didn't seem like they were competitive and then just smash on people and just show you that it's not really the deck, it's the person that's building it. So God bless you guys. Make good choices. Don't hurt your brain cells. I love you guys so much. I noticed that the subscriber count is jumping very, very high, and I do appreciate you guys for everything you do. And I hope that by now that you guys know that I really do appreciate you so much, because I would not be able to do this without Jesus first and foremost, and then you guys. But y'all have a wonderful day. Peace.